Yeah, Aaron Parsons, I think, is going to have a run on the Angelicore going into the bus stop.
Oh my God, what a pass. He got it done.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round 4 of the North American Grand Prix GT1 season 24. So, we are here tonight in Spain at Jerez de la Frontera, or the Jerez circuit, as it is affectionately known by the race drivers here. And we have just started the qualifying session about almost 3 minutes ago. About 22 minutes left of qualifying right now, and I can tell you that some of these drivers have had ample practice and others not so much. The times that were being placed up there during practice varied widely, so certainly shows that some were practicing this past week, some got their cars out on track and others didn't, unfortunately. I can tell you, as we're on board with David Poole right now, that he was certainly one that got some practice in, setting early fast laps of 1 minute 36 seconds. So look for David Poole to set early fast laps here in qualifying as well. Another one was John Ludden, got up into the 137. So we'll have to see what's going to happen here in qualifying, because anything can happen as David Poole takes it a bit wide. Does some lawn mowing there. So we were just speaking about the Jerez track, and let's take you now to the track map. It is it's a 12 turn course. What we're running here tonight, sorry, it's a 13 turn course. However, we are not running the chicane version of this track. So the chicane Ayrton Senna is not being used tonight. But what is being used is the Curva Alex Creville versus the chicane. So there you have it. It's a little less technical than some of the other tracks that GT1 is going to be visiting this season. I will say this, however, this track being very, very flat has caused some serious agita with the drivers trying to find the right setup for getting in and out of corners really, really quick. So we're going to have to see how this qualifying session shapes up with some of these boys. Right now, David Poole running in second place as he comes across the start-finish line. No improvement there. Let's take it back and see who's actually sitting up on top. So Eiran Parsons now. I stated earlier that David Poole was the one that was setting the fast laps with 136s. Well, Eiran Parsons ups that with a 135.368, and he parks it right now. Probably gonna save himself some time on being out there, as he probably understands that not many people will come too close to that time. Juan Monroy driving a Ferrari F40 right now, 136.538, very respectable time. We'll jump on board in the chase cam and follow Mr. Monroy around. He's on an out lap right now and should be coming around the final hairpin for his hot lap start very shortly. now going to start his hot lap around Jerez. As we see Alyssa Storm coming out of the pit lane. And those of you that may be watching via the internet, via our live broadcast, just to let you guys know, I do not have the chat up, so I apologize for that. It does take up some bandwidth, even though I have plenty of bandwidth. The chat room seems to do something to that bandwidth and starts causing me to drop some frames. We don't want to do that. We want to bring you guys a great viewing experience here tonight. We've got our new PC hooked up, new processor and new video card. So we bumped up the visual settings, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the way everything looks around here. So Juan Monroy about 9/10 of a second off right now. Don't think he's going to do much better in Sector 3. Sorry about that. We were looking at the frames. We were looking at the track actually. So Juan Monroy in Sector 3 right now, coming up on the final hairpin turn. Juan Monroy in P3 right now. Eiran Parsons, his first hot lap was the 135.368. Can't imagine why he might be looking to improve on that. That is just ridiculous speed around this track. Again, considering that these corners are very flat, a lot of the drivers earlier during practice, as I was walking the pit road, is that it's hard to set these high-powered cars up for such flat corners. There's no banking in them. But I happen to love this track, especially for open wheel racing. It's a fantastic layout. It's got great flow to it. And in an open wheel, you can just lay down the power, keep the pedal pegged at the firewall, and keep it moving. David Poole on a hot lap, trying ever so hard to answer Eiran Parsons' 135 lap time. He's just 0.3 of a second up, slower than Poole. Out of the last hairpin, early on the throttle. Wow, just misses it by about 0.09 of a second. So he's certainly coming close to Eiran Parsons' time. Oh, right rear lock up there, coming into turn 1. That's gotta hurt a little bit. So let's move down the field here now. Juan Monroy still sitting in P3. John Ludden, oh I'm sorry, he just got bumped down to P4. Ryan Schleif gets himself up to P3. Ludden in 5th. Andres Preto driving the Corvette C5 GT1 car and sitting in P6. Big Al Merriman, P7, driving the Saleen SR7. Brad Maris, one part of Anger Racing, heading out of the pits, currently running in P8. Salem Montgomery Jr., teammate to Juan Monroy, currently sitting in P9. Chris Moses, P10. Oh, we just had somebody drop. Ian Jolicoeur, who was one of the folks that was struggling just a little bit with setup earlier here and learning the track layout, currently in 11th. Marty Uren in 12th and Sergio Calderon in 13. Mike Greatrix in 14th. Bjorn Hemmen in 15th. Gup Douglas in the pits, currently in 16th. Larry Ferguson. Larry, I believe, is one of our newer drivers, driving the Nissan GTR, GT1 GTR, currently in P17. John McIntyre in 18th. Thomas Schubeck, driving the very bright yellow Ford GT1 Pirelli shod, sitting in 19th. David Canavan, driving the Lister Storm in 20th. Matt Taylor in 21st. There's Eiran Parsons back out on the track again. So now David Poole, boy oh boy, David Poole, John Ludden, Ryan Schleif all upping the ante and getting themselves into the 135s. Unbelievable. 6/10 separate first through fourth. Not even one whole second, folks. That is just amazing. I'm going to go ahead and jump on board with David Poole as he now starts a hot lap. Sector split, and again 3/10 off the pole pace. David Poole will certainly be looking to improve his Sector 2 time. We hear that right rear locking up again, coming through that same turn. Again, the track being so flat makes it very difficult to carry so much speed into these turns. And he still remains at 3/10 off pole. So he'll be looking to improve here in Sector 3 in hopes of grabbing the pole position away from Eiran Parsons. Or at the least, getting his P2 back. Oh, runs wide in the last turn. Nope, and no improvement. About 1/10 off the pole pace for David Poole. John Ludden making a huge leap from where he was earlier, now up in P2. John Ludden going back out. Eiran Parsons still out there. Doesn't look like he's catching any timing at scoring right now. 135.337 for Eiran. John Ludden with a 135.386. So 0.05 of a second behind. And David Poole with a 135.4. Very tight, very tight. Juan Monroy, 135.9. Ryan Schleif with a 135.9. Ryan Schleif driving the Aston Martin. Out on a hot lap, gonna try and improve his position. Well, getting it into the kitty litter for Ryan Schleif, and now for Chris Moses. Certainly not going to help their times there in their pursuit of pole position with 9 minutes of qualifying left. Huge slide by Chris Moses. Salem Montgomery active again in GT1 racing this season for season 24. What might, and again that's might, I am not privy to any special information, what might be the last GT1 season for GTR2 here at the NAGP League. We'll have to see what happens after this season, but the bosses and the higher ups and the board of directors are the ones that are making the decisions. Me personally, Assetto Corsa version 1 release candidate has been released to the public, and it is a great sim. I personally hope to see that a part of our repertoire here at NAGP at some point. Oh, Salem finding the inside wall there. Ian Jolicoeur getting bumped down to 13th. Sergio Calderon, who also was quite fast in the early practice session, back down here, mid-pack, around 14th spot. Matt Taylor coming out for another go at it. Mike Greatrix currently running in the 16th spot. I was on the line with Mikey earlier, and he was conveying some of the challenges that he was facing with the setup on this track, the Lamborghini Diablo. One of the older cars in our packs, in our car pack for this season. Bjorn Hemmen running in 17th. Good old Gup Douglas out there trying to put a lap together. Douglas currently running in 18th on his hot lap now. You know, make no mistake about it, the Jerez circuit is not, it's not as easy as some of these drivers make it seem. It's a pretty tough beast to tame. It's like I said, because the circuit is so flat, setup here is crucial. Entry and exit speed, corner exit speed, are very, very important here. You know, so tight going in, and you want to get on the throttle as early as you can and swing out wide through most of these corners. For most of the turns here. Track conditions are currently 46 degrees Celsius, so it's quite hot out there. 36 degree ambient. Beautiful sunny skies. 5 minutes of qualifying session left to go. Eiran Parsons improves on his qualifying time with a 1:35.104. David Canavan now moving up to the 6th spot, nearly breaking into the 135s himself. David Canavan with a rabbit out of the hat trick there, because boy, to move up so many spots just like that, he must have found a magic setting on the suspension of that Lister Storm. Go get him, David. Chris Moses laying the throttle down flat, trying to get out of that last corner. Whoa, huge slide, and finds the inside wall. Will not find the finish line. Salem still holding it down in P8. I think that's an improvement actually of one spot from P9. Brad Maris now in P9. The boss man Al Merriman running in the top 10. Andres Prieto is headed out now to start a hot lap, trying to improve. Let's go and take a look at some of the success ballast that some of these guys might be carrying around. So Juan Monroy is slapped with 20 kilograms. John Ludden carrying around 30 kilos. Chris Moses with 20. Salem has 10. Brad Maris with 20. And yep, here it is. Andres Prieto carrying around 40 kilos of ballast in the car, certainly making an impact here at the Jerez circuit, keeping him out of the very top, say at least the top 5 here. Bjorn Heyman carrying 20 kilos himself. And that's about it. So Andres Prieto out on track in search of the ever-elusive better time to improve his position on the grid. But I'll tell you what, I mean, you want a good starting grid position, but we have 90 minutes of racing tonight, folks, and it's not that long a circuit. It's tight, twisty corners. Passing here is going to be very, very difficult, especially for the very fast guys that are used to running up front with each other. So Andres Prieto will start his hot lap now. We're going to move on down the field, or should I say move up the field. So David Poole able to improve his time to gain P2 back. And he does it with a 135.322 to best John Ludden's 135.374. Ryan Schleif now back into the pits after posting up a 135.991. So there's no improvement for Ryan Schleif as yet. With less than a minute of qualifying time, I don't think he's going to have enough time to get back out there and post up a warm-up lap and a qualifying lap. So I think we're just seeing the very end of the qualifying runs here tonight. David Poole coming awfully close to that pole time. He's 1/10 off the pace. All-important Sector 3. This is where you can make or break time. Boy, I gotta tell you, looking good coming into that final hairpin turn for David Poole. Exit being all-important. Does he have enough? Does he have enough to set it? No, 4/10 off the pole pace, and David Poole is going to have to settle for the second spot. Eiran Parsons, I don't think is going to get to finish this lap, and he's off the pace, so he's not even going to bother. Pulls it back into the pits. So qualifying session has wound down now, and we will be switching over to warm up in about another 60 or so seconds. Still have a couple cars out there trying to lay down some fast laps. I don't think Juan Monroy is going to have enough time to get this lap in. Oh, yes he will, if it does not switch over beforehand. And he just does not make it, unfortunately. So there you have it, folks. The grid is set for tonight. Eiran Parsons taking the pole position with a 135.104. That is very, very fast around these parts. Let's go and take a look and see what these guys have done previously. So quickly looking here, John Sportelli, back in season 19, John Sportelli, who was driving, I want to say it was Ferrari. Let's take a look here. Actually, he was driving the Marlboro Racing McLaren F1 GTR. Had set the fast time of a 135.344. That was in that was November 1st of 2012, and that was certainly the fast time around here. And then Marty Eiran was the fastest lap owner for the race with a 137.182, about a 2-second difference between the qualifying run and the race run. So David Canavan, driving the Aston Martin DBR9, was the winner of that race. Eiran Parsons had finished second, and Marty Eiran had finished third. So, based on those results, with Eiran Parsons the last time finishing second, I'd have to say that the logical pick here tonight for the win at Jerez will be good old Eiran, Mr. Parsons. We'll have to see. There's 90 minutes of racing to go. And we'll be switching over to warm up in about another minute and a half here. So while we have some time, let's go ahead and bring up the current standings for the GT1 season. For the driver standings right now, you've got Andres Preto out on top with 50 points, actually tied with Chris Moses, 50. Brad Maris sitting in third, John Ludden in fourth, and Juan Monroy in fifth. So a little bit of a shake-up here this season in the early going anyway, with the names that are sitting up on top. Switching over to the team standings. No surprise here. Anger Racing, driving the Chevrolet Corvette C5R. They have a dominating lead over PMR Racing, 108 to 68. So a 40-point lead for Anger Racing. Team Columbia Vintage, driving the Ferrari F40 GTE, Juan Monroy and Salem Montgomery Jr. Just about 11 points back with 57. 05 Motorsports sitting in fourth, and fifth is T. Broke Bam driving the Ford GT1. They've got 47 points. So, and again, this is after 3 rounds of racing, and we still have another full 6 rounds to go, culminating the end of the season at the Nürburgring. So we will have to see how this season shapes out. It's still anybody's season to win, but Anger Racing is certainly laying down the law and showing everybody that they mean business for season 24. And if indeed it is our final season of GT1 racing here at NAGP, I'd have to think that they want to go out with a bang with a team championship, and quite possibly a driver championship coming out of out of Anger Racing as well. So we'll have to stay tuned week after week to see how this race shapes up. So some of the drivers right now heading out for warm up. And in most cases here, what they're doing is either practicing their starts or their pit ins. Quickly going back to the track map. So pitting in is not so. It's not so much an issue on the entrance of the pit. It's you're coming into the pits on the left side. However, when you leave, these are left-sided pits. When you leave the pits, it's putting you right out onto the racing line in turn 1. So these drivers are gonna have to be careful. They're gonna have to keep their eyes on those flashing blue pit exit lights. And if they are flashing blue, boys, you know what that means, right? It means that there is a car in your path or a car coming that is descending upon your position. So take caution. Round and round they go with about 2 minutes left of warm-up here. And then we will be switching it over to the race session. And according to the weather reports here, the chance of rain is low. And what that means to us folks is absolutely nothing, because the random weather mod that we use with GTR2 is a very unpredictable mod. Have low chance of rain and end up with some rain nonetheless. And this is something we might see a lot of today if a lot of these drivers decide that they're going to pit on the same lap. Just under a minute left of warm-up to go here at Jerez de la Frontera, located in Spain. Your pole sitter, Eiran Parsons. And we are winding down the warm-up session here. These drivers are going to start bringing it into the pits and making last-minute adjustments for the race based on weather and temperature. The race engineers for the teams will have to either open up or close the radiator. The track temperature and ambient temperature will dictate that a lot. And I'll tell you this much: when this track gets hot, radiators need to open. Not so much about the ambient temperature all the time, but sometimes that track temperature has a very wicked way of wreaking havoc on some of these race engineer strategies as far as it goes for setting up the car for the race session. So I'm gonna switch it on over here to the race session shortly. And we'll be seeing these drivers getting ready to do battle. 90 minutes, Jerez de la Frontera, or Jerez as it is affectionately known. Here we go over to the race session. 31 degrees, dry, 24 Celsius ambient, so ideal racing conditions for these high-powered GT1 cars here tonight. And we're going to go ahead and give you the rundown of the starting order. Your pole sitter, Eiran Parsons, starting in first. David Poole second. John Ludden third. Juan Monroy will start fourth. Ryan Schleif in fifth. David Canavan will start in sixth. Way to go, David. Chris Moses bringing it up another couple of positions to P7. Al Merriman also within the top 10, so PMR 7th and 8th. Salem Montgomery Jr. in P9. Brad Maris will round out your top 10. Andres Preto in 11th. Marty Uren in 12th. Ian Jolicoeur will start 13th. Again, Ian driving the Corvette C6 GT1, having a little bit of a time getting a fast setup going. Sergio Calderon will start in 14th. Matt Taylor 15th. Mike Greatrix in 16th. Gup Douglas 17th. Johnny McIntyre 18th. Bjorn Heyman in 19th. Larry Ferguson will start 20th. Tom Schubeck in 21st. And John Wathen will bring up the rear in 22nd. So there you have it, folks. We're going to go out on the track and we're going to get ready to start this one, hopefully. A lot of these drivers are making last minute changes. So you'll see them duck in and out of the pits quickly, but it looks like we are ready to go here. Just 9 little seconds left to go on the countdown clock, and those lights will start to come on. You hear the engines are starting to rev. Round 4 at Jerez. Oh, hold on to it, David Poole. Oh, and there they are. They're off. David Poole gets that little bit of a hole shot, but Eiran Parsons quickly answers back and says, not so fast. I got the inside line. Oh, and we see that. Oh, that was not cool at all. We saw that one of those salines, that of Chris Moses, took out half the field on the first corner. Don't know what the heck that was all about, but that looked like a dive bomb. Or did you just miss the brake pedal or miss the braking point? Oh my good word. That is going to leave some pretty angry folks. David Poole goes from 2nd to 21st because of this man here. Getting a little too aggressive in turn 1 there, Mr. Moses. So Eiran Parsons has it easy as he was able to avoid that melee, that fracas that happened in turn 1. John Ludden, the beneficiary of P2. Ryan Schleif up to P3, and Al Merriman from P8 up to P4. So again, another beneficiary of some of the misfortune that was suffered in turn 1. Andres Preto up to P5. Andres Preto down into 2nd gear they go for that final hairpin, and quickly up through the gears. 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Getting it up to about 150 kilometers per hour there on that front stretch. Juan Monroy running in 6th, and Ian Jolicoeur now up to 7th. Ian's going to have a heck of a time trying to hold that position. Oh, and Juan Monroy taking it off course. Concedes positions to his teammate Salem Montgomery Jr. and Ian Jolicoeur, who now gets bumped up to 6th. Andres Preto now going to be hunting down Al Merriman. Let's take a look. We'll go on the chase cam. And we've got a 3-way battle for the 3rd spot here. Ryan Schleif running in P3, driving the Aston Martin, and Al Merriman in 4th, Andres in 5th. Early battle going on here. Take a look a little further back. Ian Jolicoeur holding off a hard-charging Sela Montgomery. So lots of early battles going on here at the Jerez circuit. We're going to move up a little bit and see what's going on. So John Ludden, well, Eiran Parsons seems to be gapping the field pretty well. And like I said, given his previous finishing position here at Jerez back in season 19, if he keeps it clean, even while getting into some lap traffic a little bit later, I think this one's in the pocket for Eiran Parsons, giving T Broke Damn Bam a much needed boost in the driver championship as well as team championship. So we lost somebody. Let's go back to our timing and scoring, see who that might have been. And boy, I have a feeling that, yeah, oh no, it's not. David Poole is still out there, so good on you for staying out there, David. And Bjorn Heyman is out there. Not sure exactly who dropped. It's one of the problems that folks that you go through once you're past 40. The memory starts to slip a little bit. So looking for some close battles out there. We've got Andres Prieto still all over the back of the boss man. We'll take it on board with Andy Black. Oh, a little bit of a slide by Al Merriman. He's able to hold it on. So now Al Merriman, he's got to focus on trying to put the moves on Ryan Schleif while still holding off a hard charging Andres Prieto. Andres, although he is carrying around 40 kilograms of success ballast, does not seem to be affecting his driving ability here too much tonight. As a matter of fact, I think that the extra weight in the full tank of petrol has actually stabilized the car. Oh, and Ryan Schleif takes it wide as he goes through that turn, almost conceding the spot to Al Merriman. And we saw that Andres Prieto had to check up on his brakes there. So this is still a three-way battle for P3. Matter of fact, if you please take a swing around here, you'll see a little further up ahead that John Ludden still enjoying a fairly comfortable gap to these three. But that does not mean that you get lax. That means that you just put your head down and you keep your foot on the throttle as much as you can. Extend the gap so that way you can just continue in your rhythm to pull away and pull away. As these drivers, oh, Al Merriman going a little sideways and Ryan Schleif going wide. They almost get side by side, but not yet. As these guys are battling for position right now, they will be driving a slower line. So Al Merriman shutting the door on Andres Prieto. Andres Prieto right now just all over the rear bumper of that Saleen. And looking back a little bit, back at Salem Montgomery Jr. is a little bit of a gap, but Salem is charging really hard. Al, if you keep sliding it through the corners, man, sorry to say, but I think that those rear tires are going to wear out a little bit sooner than you hope. And I can certainly understand the position that he's in, because he's sandwiched between two very fast guys. He's trying to pass for position, at the same time defend his position. And it's a very fine line between it's a fine line, and it's a fine balancing act that some of these drivers at times have to endure. Sometimes for many laps on end, sometimes for an entire stint. Oh, Andre's having a look on the inside, gets near side by side with Al, but looks like the acceleration advantage goes to the Saleen because of the 40 kilos of ballast that Andres is carrying. Small little slide by Al. Boy, oh boy, folks. This one's shaping up to be a barn burner between some of these guys. I hate to pull away from this fine battle. We're going to cycle up real quick. So Ryan Schleif in third, and he's trying to drive as clean a line as he possibly can. John Ludden comfortably in second, and Eiran Parsons just kind of on cruise control right now. But let's go from the back up to the front. John McIntyre running in 21st. Marty Eiran chasing down Gup Douglas in the Saleen. Not sure exactly what happened to Marty. Let's take a look at his car. Might have suffered some damage. We're not exactly sure. Yep, he sure did. So he had contact with somebody. Sorry that we missed that, folks. But Marty Eiran certainly had some contact with somebody, and it has pushed him down, pushed him well down the field. So Gup Douglas driving his line, and Mike Graytrix drops several positions. Looks like Mike Graytrix also may have gotten into somebody because he's got some heavy damage to the front left of that car. And we lost somebody else again. I'm not sure why folks are dropping. We're down to 20 cars running. We've lost 2 by attrition so far. Not what we'd like to see. We'd like to see these drivers complete their races. And man, guys, just hang in there. Hang in there. It's what makes this league so great. Oh, Mike Graytrix taking it wide. Gonna lose a spot. Go full screen here again. And his teammate Marty Eiran is gonna come along the outside. Mike is gonna concede that spot to Marty. Saying, go ahead, partner, go and get Gup. So Chris Moses makes his way up to 16th, hunting down Larry Ferguson, running in 15th, driving the Nissan GT1 car. Love the look of that car. I understand the handling may not be all that, but boy, I sure love the way that looks as Chris Moses puts the inside moves on Ferguson and takes over P15. So Chris Moses now setting his sights on former teammate Thomas Schubeck of Panzerfaust Racing. Bjorn Heyman in the points, running in 13th. David Canavan running a clean race out there in P12, and Matt Taylor in 11th. Sergio Calderon in 10th. David Poole from 21st has made his way up to 9th now, and boy, you know, David, I gotta say I'm sorry for what happened to you in turn 1. I know that's gotta have you driving like a man on a mission right now, because we all know that you've got a very fast car. So I'm gonna say that by the end of this all, we're gonna see David Poole within the top 5. He's up to 9th already. Salem Montgomery Jr. in P8 hunting down Brad Maris, driving the Chevrolet Corvette C5 in P7, who subsequently happens to be hunting down Team Columbia's Juan Monroy in P6. And we're going to rejoin this battle up here. Looks like this is where the action is at, folks. So no changes between Schleif, Merriman, and Preto. Preto taking a look on the inside, and he knows that he would not have been able to hold that corner, and in order to avoid getting into Al Merriman, just brings it to a quick slowdown there. Al Merriman, who this season, in season 24, oh, Ryan Schleif takes it off, loses 2, and I was just about to say that these guys can go the entire stint like this, or something's got to give, and sure enough, Ryan Schleif takes it for some lawn mowing chore work. So now it's up to Ryan Schleif to get it back. He's falling back just a little bit, not by much. Don't overdrive that Aston Martin now, Ryan. Just put your head down and get your equilibrium back, and just drive as fast as you were before that mishap. That's all you got to do. Not always easy when you've lost a couple positions, but certainly doable. Wow, second gear through that corner to keep a high rev. It was very high, actually. Getting it up to 160 kilometers per hour down that back stretch there. Back on the throttle quick. You know, folks, and entry and exit speed is the name of the game around this track. Gotta be careful you don't take it too far out. Andres Prieto nearly touching the outside a little bit and nearly losing it, but yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to get any part of your wheels out on that grass or in the kitty litter, because that will just throw a huge wrench into your race strategies. So now Andres Prieto has been holding back since the word go for trying to put the pass moves on Al Merriman, and I think, if I know Andres Prieto as well as I think I do, he may just be trying to wear the boss man down, get him bored, try and make a mistake, but he's just hanging on to his rear bumper, not to mention the fact that he can draft Al Merriman's car around this track and benefit from the fuel consumption of the draft. So the disadvantage there in terms of fuel consumption goes to Al Merriman, because he's got to pull a lot of the weight in this two-car train. Andres Prieto getting close, but no. Oh, Andres Prieto with a slide. Oh, and Ryan Schleif nearly takes advantage, but Ryan Schleif having to check up and gets himself into the brown stuff out there. Don't overdrive it, Ryan. Don't overdrive it. So John Ludden sitting in P2 again with a comfortable lead, and our race leader, Mr. Eiran Parsons, like I said earlier, just on cruise control. So he's about 3/4 of the front straight ahead of John Ludden. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the gaps being worked right now. So that's a 9-second gap from Eiran to John, and then another 10 seconds back to Al Merriman. And this is what I was saying earlier, folks, that all John Ludden needed to do was drive consistent laps and he'd pull away. When you're in the heat of a battle, you're going to drive slower, and that's what these three guys here are doing. So Matt Taylor and Sergio Calderon seem to be having a little bit of a battle themselves there. Let's take a look at this here from the TV cams. It's Matt Taylor works to hold it together coming around that bend. Matt Taylor this past season having shown significant bursts of speed and improvement in his driving abilities around the NAGP Virtual Racing League. So good on you, Matt. You're in the top 15. Bjorn Hemmen, and folks, you know, I always say this almost on every broadcast. I give this man a lot of credit. Bjorn Hemmen comes out here week after week. I enjoy watching him race, you know. Oh, and Bjorn picking up a spot. Looks like there was some type of contact, perhaps between Sergio Calderon and Matt Taylor. Sorry that we missed it, but we did see that Matt Taylor had an off. So the one who is going to benefit from that is Bjorn Heyman. So we were talking about Bjorn. Listen, hey Bjorn, you didn't get the broadcaster's curse. You got the broadcaster's blessing tonight. Go ahead and take full advantage. You got Sergio Calderon on your tail, followed by Chris Moses and Matt Taylor. And here comes Marty Eiran. Thomas Schubeck in P16 as he rounds the last hairpin. Floors it down the front, start finish straight with a 141.8. Larry Ferguson in 17th and Gup Douglas in 18th. Oh, Gup is going to take it off. Mike Greatrix going to benefit from that. Pick up P18. Way to go, Mike. Just keep it clean. I know it's hard as heck around this track with that Lamborghini Diablo, and then you've got some front aero damage. So, but my hat's off to you for the job that you're doing, Mike. Chris Moses with a huge slide has now got Matt Taylor on the inside. Let's go on board. Matt Taylor with Marty Eiran all over his tail. So now Matt Taylor goes into defensive mode. He was on the offense. Now he's got to go into defense as Marty Eiran taking all kinds of looks inside. We're going to have to jump on board with Mr. Eiran and see what's going to be the outcome of this battle here for P14. So Marty Eiran certainly starting. Taylor going a little bit wide, but Marty Eiran coming slow through that last hairpin. Doesn't get enough momentum to catch the draft off of Matt Taylor as they come into turn one, the dreaded turn one. Matt Taylor locking up that rear right wheel, that rear right tire. So we've got a great battle that's going on here, folks, as these drivers are just driving lap after lap. And here you got Chris Moses hunting down Sergio Calderon and Bjorn Heyman. So Bjorn Heyman, who has been the beneficiary of the mishap a little bit earlier. Oh, Sergio's going to get into the side of Bjorn, but quickly gives that position back to Bjorn. Nice driving. Oh, Chris Moses. Oh, all kinds of stuff happening out here, folks. Bjorn Heyman again, the beneficiary. But we had some problems, some contact between some of these cars. Sergio drops back to P14 now, and Larry Ferguson driving in P15 is going to gain an advantage here and has some of these drivers in his sights. Can he capitalize? Just keep it together, Larry. Keep it together. Oh man, such a mishap that happened there. I had one going off, the other one gets into the back of the other one, and that guy hits that guy, and next thing you know, we got World War III out there on the track. So, up front with your race leader, Eiran Parsons, driving the big Ford GT1, the Matec Ford. He's just putting on a clinic here tonight, and we're certainly going to jump down into the pits and grab him when he goes in for his first pit cycle. Certainly want to get Eiran's thoughts on what it's like, you know, having to race out there by yourself. Pretty much uncontested right now. So, and the gap back to second, just such a huge gap at 10.8. So, you know, want to get his thoughts. Al Merriman up in third. This battle still rages on. Now Juan Monroy up in that chase as well. These guys are flying through that corner. Oh, Ryan Schleif getting a little bit wide. Brad Maris having a look. Not going to get it done this time, but Brad Maris certainly making his presence known to Mr. Schleif. Certainly saying, hey, watch it, buddy, man. You make a mistake, I'm going to capitalize on it. And certainly can't help but thinking that Aston Martin's tires are perhaps starting to suffer some wear. So we take a quick look back at what the temperatures are like. I mean, it's not overly hot. It's 31 degrees and 31 Celsius for the track temperature and a 22 ambient. So these are ideal racing conditions, and hopefully all of these drivers made the right tire choice. So, looking up at P's 3 and 4, Al Merriman and Andres Prado. Again, Andres Prado probably just trying to wear down Al Merriman, wear him down into making a mistake as he takes a bit of a look inside, but decides against it. And I'll say it again, folks, those of you that are watching, Al Merriman has been showing some driving genius this season in GT1. I can't help but think that Al figured, you know what, I'm going to get my stuff together and mount a serious challenge and put together a really good season for himself. Way to go, Al. I certainly admire the improvements and the way you've been excelling at your craft here this season, in season 24. Not succumbing to the pressure. Oh, Andres Prado having a look on the inside. Only way to gauge how close these drivers are is if we go to the bumper cam on that Corvette. And it certainly looks like Andres Prado has the pace through the corners, especially on entry. But advantage goes to that Saleen as they come out of the corners. It looks like the Saleen just has that much more torque to be able to pull it away just a little bit. Andres getting a little squirrely coming out of that corner. And we've lost somebody else. Go a little further back now because we've got other battles going on throughout the field, folks, and we want to bring you as much of the action that as possible. We want to give everybody a little bit of love here on the program. So no surprise here. Take a look at Mr. David Poole. David Poole certainly putting on a show here for us tonight, driving that Porsche 911 GT1 car. Oh, and he is going to capitalize, fully capitalize. Ryan Schleif going wide, and David Poole, of course, graciously says, thank you, I'll take it. It's not a P2, David, but you know what? I got to give you much credit. You're certainly doing your thing out there. Just keep it together. David Canavan driving the Lister Storm in P9. Salem Montgomery gets bumped back to P10, so don't know what happened to Salem. Gonna have to find out. Bjorn Hemmings still up there in P11. Thomas Schubeck, Chris Moses, Sergio Calderon, Gup Douglas, Larry Ferguson. Larry, you just keep at it, man. Mike Graytrix, you keep at it. Marty Uren, you too. You keep at it. John McIntyre back in P19. Folks, you know what? In order, before you can win a race, you got to finish a race. And I give much credit to these boys back here. John McIntyre, Marty Uren, Mike Graytrix, Larry Ferguson, Gup Douglas, and all you boys that are just battling it out for position. You just keep on doing what you're doing, man. You're going to get better at it. And I applaud you. From up here in the broadcast booth, I applaud you. And thank you for sticking with us. following my buddy Mr. Schubeck around. For those of you who do not know Thomas Schubeck very much, he is an animated character here at the North American Grand Prix, but also a great contributor to some of the off-season fun races and car physics and you name it. You know, you give Tom Schubeck a task and chances are he'll exceed your expectations given his talent. So Thomas Schubeck, from us up here in the broadcast booth, well, us nothing, from me up here in the broadcast booth, a big thank you for everything that you do for this league as well. Thomas Schubeck right now looks to be hunting down his former teammate in Chris Moses. Chris Moses, one of the administrators of the league here at the North American Grand Prix. Chris Moses is largely responsible for putting together the car packs that we use in GT2 and here in GT1. Does a phenomenal job. And again, big thank you to Chris Moses for all that he does. Bjorn, you keep it together, man. Don't let him intimidate you. Salem in 10th. David Canavan. Ryan Schleif. David Poole up in 7th. Oh, keep it together, David. Keep it together. It's Brad Maris up ahead and Juan Monroy. Andres Preto still hunting down the boss man. John Ludden comfortably out in second. I think I said that right. You folks, pardon my speech tonight. Don't know what the heck is wrong with me. Race leader Eiran Parsons. Currently in the driver's standing, Eiran Parsons is sitting back in 8th, and he's sitting back in 8th right now with 29 points. But boy, I gotta tell you this much, Eiran Parsons took pole. That's 1 point with a win and another 25. He's gonna get 26 points. Boy, it's gonna just catapult him up there into the running. That's just gonna catapult him up there into the running. So good to see you doing well here tonight, Eiran Parsons. Affectionately known as the Wonder from Down Under up here in the broadcast booth. So there is your race leader, Eiran Parsons. Currently we are, let's see how many laps we've got. We've got 19 out of a maximum of 56. So I'm gonna say that around anywhere between lap 25, 28, we're gonna start seeing some of the leaders come in, and the track temperature has actually fallen a little bit there. Back to this what's shaping up to be a 5-way battle now. Jump on board with Mr. Brad Maris. Brad Maris is North American Grand Prix resident driving instructor. Guys, I gotta tell you, if you're struggling with a specific area of your driving ability or car setup or race line, you know what, man? Send Brad a PM or give him a holler out in the forums. Brad is extremely helpful, really knows his stuff, and has helped me tremendously. I could be a lot worse off, but thanks to Brad, I've picked up some really good pointers and some really good tips to help me along in my virtual driving career. And speaking about help, here at the North American Grand Prix, we do not charge you to race. There are no entry fees, there are no sign-up fees, but the league, it's not free to run the league. Our server costs and admin costs are roughly about $300 a month, folks, and we have a good pool of gracious donors here at the North American Grand Prix, and I'd like to encourage you that if you're watching this broadcast by television and you like what you see, or you're watching on the rebroadcast and you haven't done so yet, why don't you throw a few dollars our way? It helps us out tremendously. It helps defer and offset the costs that Al has to pay for month after month, and we are donation supported. This is a not-for-profit league. We make absolutely nothing on the donations that are given here month after month. So we're going to go ahead and get back to racing, because David Poole, who has unsurprisingly made his way all the way back up to P6 right now, is in the hunt. So Al Merriman, Andres Prieto, Juan Monroy, and David Poole are in a four-way battle for P3. And we're going to keep it on Andres Prieto. Andres, looking on the inside, nearly gets into the back of Al Merriman. Al Merriman sliding, holds it together. But Andres now have to go on the defensive, because Juan Monroy is charging hard, and there goes David Poole with his that was a side-to-side bump. David Poole having put his lights on, but David Poole's gonna take it wide, not too much. David, come on, get back in it, come on, get back in it, please. So David's gonna drop a spot now. He's gonna drop 3 spots, actually, down to 2 spots to P8. I understand the intent there. That was to give Juan Monroy that position back. David may have just misjudged a little bit just how far off the line he wanted to go, but he's right back in it again. And David Poole, pilot of the Porsche 911 GT1, and he is also a real-world pilot, folks. Works for one of the majors, I believe. And if you ever need help with a setup, this is the man to go to right here. David, Mr. Setup Poole, can whip up a setup for you. You just got to let him know what it is you're looking for the car to do. David Poole certainly great at generating some of the most stablest setups I've ever driven. So he's getting back into it with Ryan Schleif, but we're going to move up right now. Juan Monroy showing evidence of that side-to-side love tap from David Poole, but here we have Anger Racing running 4th and 5th and trying to hunt down one half of PMR Racing in Al Merriman. So Al Merriman today certainly has not made it easy for Andres Prieto to get past him. There's some great racing, guys. Great racing that's going on here, and you know, the best camera to check out this action right now when they're racing this close is from the trailing car chase camera looking ahead. And of course, we always have the ability to take a look back and see who's on the charge from behind this group, which right now doesn't seem to be too many folks. But we're going to cycle through, go back to timing and scoring. Bjorn Heyman still running in 11th, and did we lose our good boy? No, Chris Moses is still back there. Now, we've lost a total of 3 drivers from this race due to attrition. Off the top of my head, folks, I'm sorry, I cannot tell you who it is, but the results will be posted after tonight's race, and we will see who it was then. So Eiran Parsons out in front with a 16-second lead over John Ludden in 2nd. Al Merriman running in 3rd. Andres Prieto in 4th. Brad Barris in 5th, Juan Monroy 6th, Ryan Schleif in 7th, followed closely by David Poole, who is followed by David Canavan. David Canavan quietly making his way, making some inroads to David Poole and Ryan Schleif. Salem Montgomery Jr. in the top 10. Bjorn Hemmen in 11th and Tom Schubeck in 12th. Gup Douglas in 13th. Chris Moses running in P14, still within the points. Marty Uren, one half of Skidmark Racing, running in P15, and Mike Graytrix running in the last points paying position in 16th. And giving kudos to Mike Graytrix, here's another driver who this season in both GT1 and GT2 has started showing improvement, finishing in the points in both GT1 and GT2. Larry Ferguson running in 17th, Sergio Calderon in 18th, and Johnny McIntyre back there in 19th. But John, yo, you just keep it going, all right, man? You don't worry about nothing. Good on you. Kudos to you, Mr. McIntyre. John Ludden now coming up on some lap traffic. Let's go full screen here, folks. I apologize for that. I'm going to fire the cameraman after tonight. The one cool thing about this job is that it's a prestigious position that pays absolutely nothing. So, I got the best job in the world. So we're going to move back now to the ensuing battle, three-way battle for the 3rd position, and still here we are. Let's see how many laps we're into this thing. So we're 24 laps into this. We are going to start seeing some of these guys come into their pit rotation now. So we see that Juan Monroy is first to come into the pits. I would assume that Juan Monroy is going to make it one stop and run all the way to the end from here on out. But you know, these two drivers right here, Brad Maris and Andres Preto, have done, I gotta say, some miracles when it comes to race strategy. They have come from 5th, 6th, 7th, or somewhere within the top 10, and have pulled off miraculous victories, 1-2s here in the GT1 season thus far. And we are certainly looking for more out of this team as they just continue to demonstrate their strategy prowess here in GT1. Andres Preto getting a little squirrely coming out of that last corner. Looks like Brad Maris got on the power just a little bit earlier than he had anticipated, and the car gets a bit squirrely coming out of the final hairpin. So we're going to take a look back. David Poole coming into the pits now. Hey, David Poole, Ken Rodriguez up in the broadcast booth. How's it going out there, buddy? Man, I'm so sorry for that first turn melee.
It is not going well, and stuck behind some guys that are kind of all over the place. Like every time I get close to them, they almost crash. So it's a frustrating night, but I'll try and do the best I can here.
Well, we're giving you a lot of kudos for having come this far up, man. Lots of luck to you. I'll go ahead and put you down in your channel, and just keep your head down, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. Hopefully the early pit will help here. See if we can find some clear track to drive on.
Yeah, you got it, buddy. Good luck.
Thanks, buddy.
So there you have it from Mr. David Poole. You know, we saw what happened there on turn 1, and certainly he's not very happy about that, but he has kept his head down and is trying his best to get right back up there. And folks, listen, if you're watching this and trying to comprehend just what it is that is going on here with some of these guys. This is a hobby. It is a game of sorts. And the cars and the tracks, they're virtual, but the competition for each and every one of these guys is very, very real. This is as real as it is for drivers that get paid to do this on a professional level. And these guys, they take their hobby serious enough, you know, and it brings out the competitive nature of a person. Of course it will, because it is competition, irregardless of whether it's virtual or real. Eiran Parsons getting a little squirrely behind some of that lap traffic. But this is real competition, folks. There's nothing fake about it. And this is what keeps these guys coming out here week after week. And yes, we are running a dated simulation, GTR2, released back, oh, Tom Schubeck with an off back there. This sim was released back in 2006, but has proven a workhorse of a platform for league racing. Right up there with R Factor and iRacing now, although long in the tooth, but well, I tell you, there's still a lot of leagues out there running GTR2. It looks like it may stay around for quite a bit yet. So, John Ludden, second place right now. Eiran Parsons still in first, having gotten around some lap traffic. Keeps it clean and keeps his lead out there. We're going to try and get Eiran Parsons here on the broadcast booth. Going to steal him away from Sergio Calderon real quick, if I get the opportunity to. But Brad Maris is in the pits, and David Canavan, Sergio Calderon, Larry Ferguson, and John McIntyre all taking on petrol and rubber. Eiran Parsons out there right now, and he might make this his pit lap. He might not. Al Merriman has yet to pit. Brad Maris in the pits. David Canavan taking on tires and fuel. Salem Montgomery. Marty Eiran now makes his way in, as does Tom Schubeck. Andres Preto out there in P10 right now. We're going to move. Oh, somebody bought it coming into the pits. It looks like it might have been either Marty Eiran or Mike Greatrix. Not sure who it was. So Eiran Parsons is in the pits. We're going to jump down and talk to Mr. Parsons. Hey, Eiran, good evening. Ken Rodriguez up in the broadcast booth. Great show so far. How's it going out there for you?
Feels great, Ken. The Ford GT is an absolute beast at this track. So
yeah, no kidding.
Cruising.
Yeah, pretty much, man. You're doing fantastic out there. Certainly a pleasure to watch you as you're in your pits. Won't keep you too long, but so your prediction for the rest of this race? Win, huh?
That's the plan.
That's the plan, buddy. Well, lots. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's just a shame that David got knocked off at the first corner. Looking forward to a good race with him.
Yeah, buddy. All right, I see you're off. We'll let you stay down here in your team channel. Lots of luck to you, bud.
Thanks, Ken.
So there you have it from Mr. Eiran Parsons. As he said that the GT1, the Ford GT, is a beast on this track. He's out there cruising. And we're seeing the last of the pit rotations take place. Al Merriman in the pits right now. So Eiran Parsons will come out in P2 to John Ludden, who has yet to pit. And let's take a look at Ludden. Ludden is one part of Robber's Dog Racing with Bjorn Heyman. And now John Ludden will come into the pits. And his partner, Bjorn Heyman, is just up ahead. Hey, John. Good evening. Ken Rodriguez up in the broadcast booth. How's it going out there for you tonight?
Oh, it's going great.
Going pretty steady.
Hey Bjorn, how you doing? Yeah, so I came down into the team channel just to see how it's going out there for you guys. You're running a brilliant race. Still currently in P1. Eiran just finished his pit, so you're going to have a heck of a battle out there. But man, lots of luck to you guys, all right?
Thanks,
All right,
Kurt.
thanks.
All right, boys. Best of luck. Talk to you guys later. And we see that one of the Lamborghinis came into the pits. Oh, it's Marty Eiran. So, all right. So Eiran Parsons now coming through the last turn, and oh, let's see here. John Ludden will come out close behind. Yeah, John Ludden comes out close behind Eiran Parsons. John Ludden with a really fast pit stop, about 3 seconds behind. Can John Ludden mount some sort of a challenge to Eiran Parsons? That still remain. That'll be remain to be seen. But John Ludden certainly no slouch in that Pagani Zonda car. He's driven it in a previous season before and mounted a serious challenge for the Drivers' Championship, I remember. And boy, he was just ridiculous fast in that car. Keep your head down, John. Certainly a pleasure to watch you driving the way you are. And I want to give a huge thank you to the boys that took the time to spend a few seconds with me during their pit rotations. So, Andres Preto and Brad Maris get the advantage over Al Merriman as it relates to their pit rotations, because 05 Motorsport now running third and fourth, and we've seen this before. We have seen this before, where Andres Preto and Brad Maris will just start pulling each other around the racetrack, making inroads to some of the front runners, and mount a serious challenge. So no surprise there. You guys are just brilliant strategists, and boy, I'm really just singing your praises right now, guys. So a little further back from them, unbeknownst to a lot of folks and quietly making some inroads, David Canavan running in P5, and his gap to the Anger Racing team is not that much. As a matter of fact, it's only about 2.5 seconds. So, and David Canavan has had his pit stop about 4 laps ago. Going to be very interesting to see just what type of an attack David Canavan will try and mount here. And David Canavan is not a new driver to NAGP. He is certainly one of our faster guys. Takes a hiatus from time to time, but it's always good to see the C-Man back racing with us when he has the time. And as you folks can imagine, this is virtual, so a lot of the times real world issues do pull us away from the hobby that we love, but that's where the balance of life comes in, and we just try to make the best of it. So, giving David Canavan some love here as he comes around the last turn. Oh, a little bit heavy on the accelerator. Has to blip his throttle and get right back on it. So Juan Monroy, after his pit cycle, comes out in the 6th spot, and David Poole in 7th. Oh, David Poole having an opportunity here to capitalize, didn't get quite close enough, and looks like Juan Monroy was aggressive shutting that door. So David Poole being brilliant about his aggressiveness and deciding to hold back. And we heard from him while he was in the pits. It seems that whenever he gets stuck behind somebody, they're all over the place. Hopefully he can make steady progress without much hindrance. And you'll see the traditional David Poole headlights come on. Once he's got a run on you, certainly one thing that I love about David Poole is that he gives you the headlights. It's not telling you to get out of your way. It's telling you, hey, I'm here. I'm alongside of you. Give me my racing space and I'll give you yours. And anybody familiar, oh, going wide. There you go. There are the headlights that I was just talking about. And David Poole will get by Juan Monroy. So now David Poole can certainly push just a little bit harder. Try and make up some positions. It's got David Canavan, who's been closing in on Anger Racing. So David Poole certainly getting much love here tonight by the other drivers on the track. And, you know, these guys have raced with each other for forever and a day, you know, week in, week out. So sometimes it's known that when somebody's got pace on you, sometimes it's just better to be courteous and give up the spot, give that other person that's quicker than you an opportunity to improve their race night. Certainly doesn't cost you a lot to just move over. Lord knows I'm familiar with that because I always run mid to backpack. And the racers, leaders come through and got to give them their due respect, the faster guys, and just let them on by. So David Poole, after having gotten bumped back to 21st, and after the pit cycles, has moved himself up to P6. And a huge kudos goes out to you, Mr. Poole. Huge kudos. Juan Monroy in 7th and Al Merriman now in 8th. Al Merriman was as high as P3. Ryan Schleif in the Hexus Racing Aston Martin DBR9 running in P9. Salem Montgomery Jr. with the Ferrari F40 in P10. Chris Moses not having too good of a night here tonight, trying to make the best of a bad situation. He is running in P11 right now. Bjorn Heyman lost the spot after the pit rotations to Chris Moses and is now running in P12, but still very respectable. Thomas Schubeck in 13th, not too far behind Bjorn, so I see a battle shaping up here. We see John Ludden is coming up for some lap traffic. Gub Douglas improves to P14, Mike Graytrix in 15th. Sergio Calderon in the last points paying position after the pit cycles is in 16th. Marty Uren, you know, struggling a bit tonight, and we can certainly understand that. This is a tough track to tame. Running in 17th. Larry Ferguson still out there in 18th, and he is now in a heated battle with John McIntyre. And you know, one would think that the advantage goes to the Saline because they're such high power cars, but I gotta tell you that Nissan GTR GT1 car, not a slouch. Not a slouch at all. Terrible handling, but not a slouch. So we'll stay a little bit with this battle right now and see what comes of it. As John McIntyre seems to just be following Ferguson's line around the track. And people, let me tell you this, it doesn't matter if you're battling for 1st, 20th, or 30th. When you're in a heated battle for position, it is just as if you were racing for the win. To that I can attest. Oh, Ferguson gonna take it a little wide, and McIntyre, for having followed the line, almost has an off as well. So Ferguson bobbles it a little bit. Just keep it together, Larry. Keep it together. Now get your head back in it. There's still plenty of racing left to be had. So your race leader, Eiran Parsons, now just lighting this track up on fire with the Ford GT. You know, just putting on a driving clinic there here tonight, and he's going for the win, huh? He's going for the win. John Ludden, not too far behind. I'd say that gap has grown a little bit, maybe to about 4 seconds. And Andres Prieto, David Canavan gets by Brad Maris. So, interesting turn of events. So, David Canavan splitting Anger Racing. Doesn't look like Brad Maris is gonna let that go for too long. Now, you gotta understand, Brad Maris is he's quite the technical driver. He's not the one that's gonna dive bomb you in a corner. He is going to exploit every opportunity, every advantage that he can. If there's a flaw in your driving line, he's going to find it and exploit it. I can guarantee you that. And thus why you see at times Brad Maris may take up to 10 laps before putting a move on you. He's just studying your moves. He'll wear you down, you make a mistake, and you know what? He's got you. So I don't think this battle here is over yet, but looking up ahead, looks like Marty Eiran giving the lights to Andres Prieto to get on by. Excellent driving, gentlemen. Excellent driving for giving each other enough room and courtesy. And boy, I gotta tell you, the Man on the Mission award goes to this man here tonight, David Poole. David Poole certainly showing some driving skill prowess here tonight. Got bumped back to 21st, up in 6th right now. By no means an easy task. Oh, we see some lockups going on up ahead. Let's get into chase mode here. Headlights are coming on. It looks like we might be seeing a battle up front with some lap traffic. Oh, as Brad has to make an inside move to get around the Lamborghini, and it looks like around the Ford GT of Sergio Calderon. So tough to do that. And now David Poole having to contend with the lap traffic as well, and he'll go ahead and get by. And look at this, there go the lights go off. David Poole now able to turn his lights off because he's not alongside anybody. And guys, I gotta tell you, you know what, when you're putting the moves on somebody for position, that's a best practice to take away from what David Poole does. You know, give that other that other driver the courtesy to know where you are, that you are there indeed. Flick those headlights on, and you know they can perhaps take some precautionary measures or drive a different line to make the competition a bit more interesting. So David Poole running in 6th. Al Merriman up to 7th position. Juan Monroy in 8th, and we got another bit of a battle brewing here. Ryan Schleif making some inroads to Juan Monroy's position for P8. Ryan Schleif heavily involved in many battles on this track here tonight. If there was a battle for position going on, chances are that Ryan Schleif was in that mix. I don't quite know if that's the way I would want to spend 90 minutes of my evening racing online, boy, but I gotta give you a lot of kudos, Ryan. You've been involved in just about every battle out on this field. And Salem Montgomery Jr. Running a fairly quiet race. He had gotten himself up well into the top 10. Dropped back, pit rotations, now back in the top 10, and I believe he may have had an excursion with someone earlier. We didn't catch it on the broadcast, but I'm sure that we'll read about it in the forums. Salem Montgomery Jr., another one of our NAGP top drivers, showed huge improvement. I think it was after season 20 where he won the off-season fun race at Bathurst, and actually won it quite dominatingly. Ever since then, it's just been improvement after improvement for Mr. Salem Montgomery Jr. He's another one of our animated characters, especially on Ventrilo. Chris Moses running in 11th, helping the team out to some very valuable team championship points. Thomas Schubeck out there, P12, and Gup Douglas in 13th, Sergio in 14th. So we got a three-way battle going on here, it looks like, for P14. Skidmark Racing, excuse me, Skidmark Racing in the hunts for the points. I believe it's a total of 3 points respectively right now as they run these positions, but looks like Mike Graytrix trying to get an advantage here with Sergio Calderon, and Sergio Calderon, certainly the power advantage goes to the Ford GT over the Lamborghini Diablo. My recommendation to these two guys would be to work with each other. Might get into Marty's draft and stay there. Yeah, that would be my advice. Get in his draft and stay there, so that way you guys can help each other out around the circuit. So Marty Uren, certainly with some pace now, is probably going to put Sergio Calderon down a spot here within the next couple of laps. We're going to jump on the bumper cam. Going to try and catch that pass as it happens. If it happens. So Marty Uren playing it a bit safe. Oh, a little bit of a bobble there by Marty Uren. May have gotten on the accelerator a little bit too aggressively. Mike Graytrix, John McIntyre, Larry Ferguson running in P18, Bjorn Heyman in 19th. Now Aaron Parsons, not sure who he's coming up on here. Might be Mr. Moses, it could be Al Merriman as well, so not exactly sure, but Saline is going to take the wide line, and that's how you get it done, folks. You know, I got to tell you, one of the greatest qualities of NAGP is that these guys that run up front, they certainly know how to race with each other, and the really fast guys, they don't need you to move over 2 or 3 lane widths to let them by. You just give them a car width, or you can either concede the inside line to them or concede the outside line and slow down on the inside line. They'll go right around you. So that's one of the huge pluses we have here at NAGP. John Ludden is comfortably in 2nd spot. David Canavan, late race charge, gets by the Anger Racing team. Andres Preto not going to let that one go. Not exactly sure if Andres Preto is perhaps strategizing right now, or if he's holding back for fuel conservation. I would think not. I would think that he would have taken a well enough fuel load that he can push to the end. Oh, Canavan with a spin! And Anger Racing gets right back by. And Andres Preto up to third. Brad Maris in fourth. And now David Poole up to fifth, now gaining an advantage. Putting Canavan down a spot. Not exactly sure that Canavan's going to be able to get by Mr. Man on a Mission here tonight. But he certainly can try, and these guys are week in, week out fast. So taking a look up ahead, this is going to be the battle to the finish here, guys. You know, call it a premonition, call it what you want, but there's a lot at stake here. We're early in the season, but you know what? When you want to dominate a season, you got to set that dominance from the very beginning. You got to set that dominance from the beginning and establish your position, whether it be the drivers' championship or the team championship or both, or the competition index as well, which we have here at NAGP. That's an awards. That's an awards paying position for the competition index. So currently running lap 41 out of a scheduled 56 laps. Will we get to 56? I believe that based on the lap times that we're seeing out of Eiran Parsons, we're going to take a look here. 137s, 138s, some 136s. We should see 55 laps. Yeah, I'm going to say 55. So, and we see no cuts for Eiran. We're going to move back a little bit. No cuts for John Ludden and Andres Preto. Looks like the top guys are running clean races. Yep. So let's go back to the full screen and see what be going on up there. We're going to leave David Canavan behind. No pun intended here. We're just going to move up the grid one spot. Oh, and there's some bit of a problem there with a Ford GT. That of Thomas Schubeck having a bit of an off there in the corner in the last turn. So now David Poole is right behind, let's make sure, yep, right behind Brad Maris. Brad Maris has got a mirror full of Porsche and a windscreen and a windshield full of Chevy Corvette. Brad going up the inside. Oh, block move by Anger Racing, and it's going to, no, that backfired. That backfired. Oh boy, wait a minute, let's get back here. Andres Preto now getting a little aggressive over David Poole. Let's keep it clean, guys, keep it clean. Keep it clean, because I will call you on it if you go dirty. Andres Preto putting immense pressure on David Poole. But it's like I told you folks, the Man on a Mission award tonight, it's all David Poole, and certainly we see that that Corvette has got some serious pace. So David Poole's got his work cut out for him still yet, even though he's gained the advantage over Anger Racing because of a backfired block move. Boy, I should have been looking at Ventrilo to see if the speakers were going back and forth. That might have been a planned. That might have been a planned attack. Unfortunately, it did not work. It did not keep David Poole behind. But if anything, Brad Maris had a bit of a spin there, giving the advantage to David Poole. And now it looks like David Poole's going to start pulling away. And here comes David Canavan. Here comes David Canavan, hot and heavy on the brakes, going into that sharp turn. So lots of great racing that's going on here, folks. We're gonna chase David Canavan around. Oh no, we're gonna get on that bumper cam. We're gonna see what he's up to. Brad Maris a ways back, so Brad Maris now falling off the pace, but David Canavan driving the long in the tooth Lister Storm. Boy, he's putting all sorts of pressure on Andres Preto, but boy, I gotta tell you, that's a tough job because Andres Preto, he doesn't give an inch. He doesn't, and when Andres Preto makes up his mind that you're not gonna get by him, he will take the fast line away from you every single time. You would have to pray for a miracle and hope that you can get him down the straight. And folks, let me just make a small correction from earlier when we saw that anger racing move between Andres Preto and Brad Maris. That was not a block move. That was actually defending the line move. So I don't want to put the wrong idea out there. That was not blocking. It was defending the line. It was teamwork coming together to try and occupy that space of track, one on the inside, one on the outside, so that no pass could be made. Unfortunately, because of Brad Maris's spin, that move did not work, and David Poole, who is now starting to check out, was able to capitalize on that. So, and we have there's not a whole lot of racing left to go. 44 out of 56 scheduled laps. 45 now. I say that this one's going to be over in about 10 laps. Time now is 10:57 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We've got Eiran Parsons. He's in Australia, so it's like the middle of the day where he is. So it looks like Canavan oh, that is heartbreaking. That is just heartbreaking. Careful, careful, careful. All right, he's back in it. Oh, that is heartbreaking. Canavan drops now to P6. We're going to have to move it up here. So teammates Andres Preto and Brad Maris picking up a spot each. Well, Andres Preto still in 4th and Brad Maris picking up P5 again. Wow, boy, I gotta tell you, this race has certainly turned out to be a barn burner, folks. Lots of action from start to end, and that's what we like to see here. Great entertainment, great driving, great competition, and well, I gotta tell you that I'm pretty sure we are going to perhaps read some color commentary on some of the stuff that's going on here today. So, 3rd place, David Poole, having clawed and climbed his way up from P21. That was on lap 1, folks, and we're almost done with this race, and this man has certainly pulled a rabbit out of his hat, and he has come all the way back up to P3. David Poole, my hat's off to you, and buddy, I just want to suggest that you just keep it clean, drive fast, but don't overdrive the car and don't get anxious for nothing. So John Ludden, P2, and your race leader right now, Eiran Parsons. You heard him during his pit cycle. He's just out there cruising, putting on a dominating performance here. There's a 7-second gap to second, and David Poole certainly will not be catching John Ludden before the end of the race, unless some misfortune should befall Mr. Ludden, but not likely. John Ludden's a very consistent driver. So that mishap that David Canavan had has now opened up a 10-second lead between he and Brad Maris, but here's a bit of an interesting story starting to take shape. Let's take a look back at Al Merriman, who's currently running in P7, and Al is not too far C Canavan. There is a Lamborghini between them, but Al is making a bit of in-road improvement here. Now getting by one of the back markers. I believe that back marker might be headed into the pits. Excuse me, folks. I've been talking for nearly an hour and a half, or actually a little bit beyond that, a little over 2 hours, and my throat is a little dry and my voice is a little hoarse. But it's all good, man. We do it for the love of the hobby. So we're going to go ahead and cycle through the field here because we are approaching, excuse me, we are approaching the end of the race. So out in first right now, Eiran Parsons. In second is John Ludden, and third, Mr. David Poole. And I say Mr. David Poole for the accomplishments tonight. Brad Maris currently leading his partner, Andres Preto, currently running in fourth. Andres Preto in fifth, and David Canavan in sixth. And just a quick note about Andres Preto. Big kudos to Andres. He's driving around this tight, twisty circuit with 40 kilograms of ballast in that Corvette. Not an easy task. Not an easy task, folks. So good on you, Andres. David Canavan in sixth, and Al Merriman in seventh. Ryan Schleif in 8th, and Juan Monroy in 9th. Salem Montgomery Jr. now coming up on the tail of his teammate, running in 10th, and Chris Moses in 11th. Chris Moses certainly struggling here tonight. Perhaps not one of his... this probably will not be one of his more memorable races. Thomas Schubeck in 12th, and Gup Douglas in 13th. Mike Greatrix in 14th, Sergio Calderon in 15th, John McIntyre in 16th, Marty Wren one outside the points in 17th, and Larry Ferguson in 18th. Bjorn Heyman is down in 19th, but he's chugging along. He's chugging along. You're an inspiration to me, Bjorn. Just know that you're an inspiration to me. So Eiran Parsons with a 137.7, working lap 49. Close battles on the field still. And some of those close battles are between teammates, as is the case here with Anger Racing. Andres Preto in 5th, Brad Maris in 4th. 05 Motorsports, David Poole. Up in 3rd, John Ludden. For Robbers Dog Racing. Up in 2nd, and T Broke Damn Bam. One half of T Broke Damn Bam up in 1st, Mr. Eiran Parsons. Well, I gotta tell you folks, man, I would love to have the talent that some of these guys have, but my fear is if I did, it gets kind of lonely running out there in 1st all by your lonesome without a challenge. Not that the win is any less gratifying, but I think that you may, on a personal level, may experience a little bit more gratification when you've had to sweat and really bust your hump for the win. So, but certainly a clinic being put on here tonight by Eiran Parsons. David Poole finding the curb, coming out of that turn. Keep it together, David. Keep it together. You just continue what you're doing. You're going to finish in third. The gap is just way too long to John Ludden. Brad Maris, Andres Preto, David Canavan dropping off the pace a little bit. Al Merriman has not improved his gap to David Canavan, so it looks like if we continue on this way, unless like I said before, not that we wish it, but unless some type of misfortune falls on one of these guys, this will pretty much be the finishing order. Ryan Schleif, one of the 4GTs getting caught in the last turn. Ryan Schleif in P8, and Salem Montgomery Jr. improves 1 to 9th as he gets around his teammate Juan Monroy. Chris Moses in 11th, and Tom Schubeck, who is just unfortunately stuck in the last hairpin in 12th. Gub Douglas, Mike Graytrick, Sergio, John McIntyre, Marty Uren, Larry Ferguson, and Bjorn Heyman. That's your running order, folks, and right now, I mean, that's pretty much it. There are no fantastic battles going on anymore. These guys are just cruising it out till the end. John Ludden about ready to put his teammate lap down. Remember, Bjorn, not that wide, man, just a little bit. It is up to the passing car to make the pass stick. You're just being courteous. Your race leader coming up on the tail of Johnny McIntyre. J-Mac, as he's affectionately known in Ventrilo. One part of GM Racing. With Gup Douglas, Johnny McIntyre. And that's the way you do it. See? Concede the line, hit the brakes a little bit. It's not going to cost you a whole heck of a lot. So we're just on board with your race leader, Eiran Parsons, as he just continues to dominate the field here tonight. And I got to tell you, folks, my opinion is if that we did not have that first lap melee, that first corner melee, not that the results would have been much different, but I think we would have seen a serious challenge from Mr. David Poole, because even now, this late in the race, David Poole is showing some really great pace, running in P3. So it's unfortunate, but the race goes on. Sergio Calderon conceding the line to his teammate, Mr. Eiran Parsons, your race leader right now. John Ludden, David Poole, now coming past the start-finish line. Working lap 52, folks. We got somebody in the pits. Bjorn is in the pits. Oh, did you get a stop and go or something? Or a drive-through? What's going on, Bjorn? Interesting. This will more than likely put Bjorn down another lap, unless he's in for a splash and go. His pit stop was, oh, Bjorn, so sorry you DNF'd. Back out here with Eiran Parsons. boy, seeing Bjorn not finish the race certainly breaks my heart. But the one good thing I can say, well, we have a Lamborghini in the pits also. Maybe a little fuel miscalculation going on there. But I will say this about Bjorn Heyman: it will not deter him from being right back out here with us next week. And you know what? I look forward to that, folks. I look forward to bringing you the action next week as well. No doubt, because you know, this is addicting stuff. And next week's round is none other than the mid-season classic at Spa-Francorchamps. That's going to be an interesting race. I'm hoping some more racers will come out for the Spa race. Quickly cycling through the field. Mike Greatrix in the last points paying position. Unfortunately, Marty Eiran has not been able to make his way back up into the points. It's unfortunate. Marty Eiran struggling here tonight. Larry Ferguson running in 18th. Your race leader, Eiran Parsons. We're going to grab Eiran Parsons after the race here, and we're going to get inside the head of Ezza, aka Eiran Parsons. So as he makes his way, snaking through some corners here. With 18 drivers on the track, unfortunately we lost a total of 4 to attrition. Certainly not what we'd like to see here, but you know, it happens, and I understand. I've DNF'd before, although I try every possible thing that I can if I am involved in some sort of a wreck or whatnot to get back into the pits. Get her all fixed up. Keep on chugging along by any means necessary. And there you have it, folks. Eiran Parsons is going to take the win. A well-deserved win for Mr. Eiran Parsons. Second will go to John Ludden, and third to David Poole. Mr. Man on a Mission. Boy, I'm going to come up with some type of online award for this one. Brad Maris will finish 4th, Andres Preto in 5th, David Canavan 6th, Al Merriman will bring it home in 7th, Schleif in 8th, Montgomery in 9th, Monroy in 10th, and Moses 11th, Schubeck 12th, Douglas in 13th, McIntyre out of Fiulio in 14th, Greatrix 15th, Calderon 16th, Eiran 17th, and Mr. Ferguson 18th, and Bjorn is out in 19th. So that's pretty much it, folks. That is pretty much it. We're going to go ahead and go grab Mr. Eiran Parsons. Going to steal him away for a couple of seconds. He's down there in his channel talking right now, so let's take it over here. And Ezza, I am going to pull you up into the broadcast booth with me. I'm sorry. Hey, Eiran, how you doing? Sorry that I pulled you away from your conversation with Sergio, but it's Ken up here in the broadcast booth. First and foremost, congratulations on such a dominating win.
Thanks, Ken.
We spoke during your pit rotation, and you had mentioned that you were out there cruising, and it certainly looked that way from what we were watching on the broadcast. One thing I did mention to our folks out there listening was that, when we pulled you up here after the win, we were going to try and get inside the head of Eiran Parsons. So my question to you, Eiran, is you pretty much drove the entire race out there by yourself. At any point, does it get boring, or do you still find it challenging to push yourself even further along, even though you're out there running unchallenged?
I wouldn't call it boring, but it's in situations like that, it's much harder to keep the concentration up. In the first stint, I did pretty well. I was able to kind of push myself without taking risks, if you know what I mean, without
Yep.
so that worked pretty well in the first stint. In the second stint I was a bit less consistent. I got caught up with some lap traffic a little bit, and I lost a bunch of time on the pit stop as well, so that actually brought the gap down to John Ludden a lot, so that helped motivate me a bit in the second stint.
Yeah, it certainly.
The gap was so much smaller.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it certainly did. When the pit rotation was said and done, I believe that gap was down to about 3.5 seconds. And one thing I mentioned on the broadcast was John Ludden going to have enough to mount a serious challenge? But going back to the start of the race, there you avoided quite a catastrophe. Unfortunately, there was a big turn one pile up there. And we caught it on the broadcast, so it's going to be interesting to watch it. But I think perhaps you may have had a bit more challenge had David Poole not got taken out in that first turn melee, because don't know if you saw the final results. He happened to work his way from 21st all the way back up to P3. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I saw that incident at turn one. That's when I saw that happen, I'm like, that just ruined the race between David and myself, because it looked like we were going to have a good battle. And I saw he went down to last place and then worked his way all the way back up to third. So I watched the gap between me and David, and it stayed fairly consistent. So when he got into clean air, so we probably would have had a really good battle if he hadn't got knocked off at turn one. So that's a shame.
It is. It certainly is. But you know what? It does not diminish the fact that you won the race, and we still congratulate you nonetheless. And boy, I got to tell you, I can't wait to see when the points are published, because you certainly have you threw the banana into the blender, if you know what I mean. And this is going to shake some things up now.
Yeah, the first three tracks weren't so great for the Ford, so didn't have much points collecting going on in the first few races, but I think the next 6 races or so should be better in general for the Ford, so it should be good, interesting going forward.
Yep, absolutely. But listen, hey, we look forward to greater things coming from you, Eiran, and T-Broke Dam Bam as a team. So it's going to be very interesting, and we're seeing a lot of hard driving from folks. Al Merriman, for one, has been putting on some brilliant runs and trying to sew together a pretty decent season. So just want to congratulate you on your win tonight, and we look forward to some really good stuff for the remainder of the season. Next week is Spa.
Yep, thanks again. Thanks for doing the broadcast.
Absolutely. So I'm going to drop you down, Eiran, and again, just thank you for all that you do for the league, as well as being a fantastic sportsman and ambassador of the hobby. So again, big congratulations and a good evening.
Thanks again. Good night.
So there you have it from Eiran Parsons, our post-race wrap-up. I am Ken Rodriguez for the North American Grand Prix Virtual Online Racing League. I want to thank all you folks that are watching by television and will watch the rebroadcast. I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. We will be coming at you next Thursday from Spa-Francorchamps in Spa, Belgium. This is one of our legendary tracks here at the North American Grand Prix, and it is the mid-season classic. So for the North American Grand Prix GT1 drivers and all of the admins and staff, I'm Ken Rodriguez, and we will see you next week. Thanks for joining us.